Hello everybody, today's story comes from my garden, and the reason I've decided to read it here is because it's called The Extraordinary Gardener, and I thought that's the perfect setting for this title of book. The author's name is Sam Boughton, and I think the author also did the illustrations, so there are some amazing pictures in here, and that's really why I chose the book. But also I thought it'd be a good one for us to catch up on how our seeds have got on. I remember a few weeks back now, quite a few weeks back actually, we all had some sunflower seeds. I'm just interested to see how yours are going. I'm going to show you how mine's doing a little bit later on. Let's get into this story. It's about a little boy called Joe. And Joe has an amazing imagination, and sometimes he uses his imagination to try and entertain himself, and also to try and entertain his friends and his family and the people that he knows that live around him. So this story is all about that. The Extraordinary Gardener. Joe was a boy with a wild imagination. It took him far away to a world less ordinary, to a place very different from the world outside. So if you look in the picture here, you can see that it's quite drab and grey outside his window where he lives. It looks like he lives in some flats, I guess, because there's some big tall tower blocks right next door, and it looks like there's lots of rooms, lots of houses, if you like, on top of each other, and they're called flats. I think that's where he lives, probably in a big city, I'd say. In Joe's world, plants grew taller than skyscrapers, and animals unlike any other roamed the streets and soared through the sky. Every day, Joe longed for his world to come to life. Then one night, while he was reading his favourite book, an idea began to grow. So he's reading this booklet and he's having a really great idea. Oh, I've got a great idea now. I know what I'm going to do. I know what he is going to do. It's very windy again, I'm sorry about that. It was full of beauty, colour, scent and song. And it all started with something very small. So that's what his idea looks like. Sunshine, a bit of rain, more sunshine. And look, this thing's growing from something very tiny to a seedling, and then quite big. Wonder what it can be. The next morning, Joe went in search of the one little thing that would bring his idea to life. He looked in all the usual places, and the not so usual. He was looking inside of Wellington. Finally, he found what he was looking for. Can you see what he was looking for? Looking for an apple, and he was looking really for the seeds that are inside the apple. You've probably noticed them. If you cut an apple in half, you can see right in the middle there'll be some seeds. Wasting no time, Joe collected all his tools together and carefully planted the tiny seed. So you see there's at the table here, and he's got some soil in a little pot. There's some soil on the floor as well. And there's the apple. You can see he's taken the seeds out and popped them into the pot. Then he fed it and watered it and quietly waited. So he just sat and waited patiently. And waited some more. But nothing happened. Nothing changed. Eventually, Joe stopped waiting. He forgot all about his seed, and he went back to what he knew best, imagining. So he's still imagining about his amazing world that he's trying to create. But something was happening. The seed had begun to grow. It grew and grew and grew. Look at the size of it now. Incredible. Incredible. From that tiny seed. Then one ordinary day, while Joe was busy daydreaming, something colourful caught his eye. He stepped outside and discovered that where he had planted the tiny seed now stood the most beautiful tree. And look, the birds have come to see it as well. They're obviously impressed with it. He's created a new world for those birds, hasn't he? Joe got to work at once. He learned to preen and prune dig and sow. Every day he brought home new seeds. He started to grow all sorts of things. Before long, the single tree had become a tiny garden and grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Wow, look at it now. And you see he's still watering them though. Spectacular, what beautiful colours. Lots of pots. Love it, love that. One by one, Joe's neighbours came to visit his beautiful garden. When Joe saw his new friends so happy, he had another idea. I wonder what it could be. Joe decided to share his garden with people throughout the city. You can look, see he's sharing his plants, giving plants to people that come to visit him. Wow. How kind is that? And slowly, over time, with the help of that first tiny seed, Joe's world grew from ordinary to, bet you can guess what the word is, extraordinary. Wow. So look now. Look how beautiful it looks outside his window now. People have started to plant all their flowers and all their beautiful little plants around them. And it's brought colour and life and birds, and insects, and even a couple of monkeys here, look. How amazing is that? Wow, love that story. Really good one, really like that. I really like the idea of him doing something kind for others and sharing his seeds out with people. That's a really nice thing to do, and it made them so happy. But it also made his environment look much better, didn't it? It made it such a pretty place to be. I'm going to show you around my garden in a minute, I think. Because if you remember, I showed you before some of the things I planted when they were tiny little seeds. I put them in the seeds, and I had a little tiny frame here, what we call a cold frame. I had all my seeds in there growing. Well now, most of them have grown big and tall. Some of them didn't grow at all, never mind. But most of them did grow, and I planted them on into bigger pots. So I've got some strawberries, some tomatoes, some raspberries, all sorts. Even got some potatoes. I'll have to take you a little tour around the garden. I hope your seed is doing well. I know perhaps not all your seeds will have come through, but some of them will have germinated and some of them will have grown. I really would be interested to see if you could send me any photos of your amazing sunflowers if they've grown. I nearly said beans. It'd be really good to see them. So if you have them now, or if you've grown anything else, including beans, send me some photos in, or send them in to Mrs. Dryden if you like, and then I can get to see them as well. So here is my sunflower. I did have two, but it got really windy the other day, and it snapped it in the wind. But I had to rescue this, bring it in the house, to stop it from getting blown to pieces. Hopefully it will grow tall soon. Okay, let's see what we've got then. So down here I've got one potato pot, and they're nearly good because the flowers have just dropped off them, so I can eat them in a couple of weeks, I think. Down here in my tray, I've still got some seeds that are growing. I've got chilli growing there, some basil, some tomatoes, look, and if you look carefully, look, you can see them. These are going to be my beautiful tomatoes. I'll be able to eat them. They've got to get bigger and red, obviously, but then I'll be able to eat them. What else we've got? Got a strawberry in there, some peas here, and some mange too as well. They're pretty. And another tomato plant. The tomatoes are massive, really big. And under here I've got some courgettes growing up, the first ones, and these beautiful courgette flowers. You can eat them, apparently. Oh, I'm not eating them, but you can. Hidden at the back there, what have we got here? Oh, we've got some raspberries, look. I've been eating these. Lots of raspberries that are coming up. I came out the other day to find Ebbi helping herself to them. She was just eating them. Typical. What we've got here, all my herbs growing. I've got a couple of cabbages growing as well. Lots of herbs. At the back I've got some more peas growing up there. And all my herbs and mint. Oh, look at these, look at these. These peas here, I'll be able to eat them very soon. They got so fat because of all the rain we've had and all the water in. And more peas. And on this side I've got my pots. Strawberries here. There's not many. Again, I have to keep hiding them from Ebbi because she likes to eat the strawberries. And so do the birds. The birds keep coming and taking them as well. Another courgette there. More peas. Bay. More strawberries up there. They're not started to grow yet though. And that's it. And I've got one pot left. Got a big empty pot here. I don't know what to put in that yet. So I've got to think of something. Anyway, let me know how you're getting on with yours. And if you're growing anything in the garden, any wonderful plants, I bet Georgia Wyman's growing loads of things. But if you are growing some stuff, send me some photos. I'll be really interested to see them. Until next time.